Y'all, my name is Naya. I'm the senior culinary product developer here at Thistle. Been with Thistle, maybe since 2016, so a while now. This is one of my favorite dishes we serve, one of the customer favorites. I'm really excited to share it with you all today. My partner Kathleen today wasn't able to make it, so it's just gonna be me, but we're gonna have a blast. Here with me are two other team members. We've got Carolyn and Jesse from our creative team. They're responsible for all of our very beautiful photos on the website, as well as any creative drawings you see on our website or on anything on our labels. So today, we're gonna go ahead and start making our kale pesto pasta salad. And this is really great for the summertime, really great for this Memorial Day weekend, something to share. Pretty much a crowd pleaser. Like I said earlier, ranch, pesto, pasta, can't go wrong. Like most people are gonna love that. And it's nutritious and great for you. We sneak in a lot of healthy ingredients just to make sure you get the most out of it. Some things you could do to get ahead, like I did. I already cooked my pasta. I'm using a gluten-free chickpea pasta from Bonza. It's got pretty high protein content. This salad is going to serve anywhere from 4 to 6 people. And just from this box of pasta alone, it was 8 ounces dry. It's about 23 grams of protein per serving. So that's pretty killer. So first things first, so I would say this is probably broken out into 4 different components. We have our marinated sun-dried tomatoes, and then we also have our kale pesto pasta. We have our ranch dressing, and then as well as just assembling the salad and the base grains. So let's get started on the marinated sun-dried tomatoes. So right here, I've got 3 ounces, and most sun-dried tomato bags come in 3 ounces, but those, you can also use the canned jarred, like the oiled ones. Those will be tasty, but we're trying to really limit the amount of fat here, but these work just great. So to hydrate them first, before we marinate them, I'm just gonna combine the sun-dried tomatoes with about 2 to 3 cups of water. What's important is that it's enough to cover. As long as it covers, depending on the size pot you use, that's all that's important, because we're gonna bring it up to a boil, reduce it to a simmer, and simmer it for about 4 to 5 minutes, just until they're tender, because you don't want it too difficult to chew. So I'm gonna put that right here. And while that's coming to temp, I'm gonna start with the marinade. So starting with the marinade, we're gonna do about 1 clove of garlic, and it's really handy if you can peel these beforehand, or even chop a bunch too. I like to smash them before I chop it, just makes it easier for chopping. And no one wants a big chunk of garlic in your food. That's not fun. I mean, I love garlic, but the people I talk to, well, yeah, they won't be too excited. So I've got my clove of garlic chopped up. I can put that in the same container I measured out the water. That works just fine. And to that, we're gonna add some olive oil. This is not Brandon, just something my friend gave me. Any olive oil will do just fine. So we're gonna do 1/4 cup of olive oil in that as well. And then to that, you've got some dried herbs, some dried oregano and basil. I already have measured out, but just want to give an opportunity to shout out one of our favorite partners, Oaktown Spice Shop. So they're a local spice shop here in Oakland, California. Really great company, like high quality spices. We love them so much. Really grateful to work with them. They really just improve all of our dishes. Really great partner. We have some chili flakes in there too. Got a question?
Carrie just shared that they'd be okay with a big chunk of garlic.
Oh, good.
Never too much garlic for Carrie.
Carrie, you know, I get it. I feel it. I understand it. It's the everyone else. We're gonna do some balsamic vinegar, some dark balsamic, 2 tablespoons. Great. Yeah. Cool. So that's in there. So then pretty much waiting for our marinated tomatoes to come to temp. And what's great about sun-dried tomatoes is that even though all the water is dehydrated from them, from being set in the sun, right? It keeps all of its nutrients. So they're still high in all the vitamins and antioxidants that you think would be in the raw. They're just more concentrated since we're going to be eating a lot more of them, right? Because all the water is left and they're dehydrated. So those are great. They're gonna come to temp. And while that's going, I think we can go ahead and get started on our kale pesto. So our kale pesto utilizes two amazing ingredients, kale and basil. And what's great about kale and why we love kale so much is it is so nutrient dense and low calorie, making it just a really great ingredient to include because you can go through so much of it calorically and still get all those vitamins and minerals that you love. They're also part of the cruciferous vegetable family, which is probably our favorite family of vegetables just because of its high content of antioxidants and vitamins and minerals, but also the powerful plant-based compounds called phytonutrients that are really great for you. I would definitely just research cruciferous vegetables. They're so great for you. And they're such a versatile family of produce, cabbage, Brussels sprouts, kale, collards. It's a huge family of vegetables. And while they vary in size, shape, color, one thing they all have in common is that they're really, really great for you and high in nutrients, which is why we love to sneak them in whenever we can. And I like to use baby kale for this pesto just because they're so tender and the stems aren't as fibrous as if you were to get like lacinato or curly kale or any of the larger, more mature leaves. So I really like those for that reason. I'm going to use a food processor for this pesto, but you can use a blender too. That would work just fine. So I'm going to take my lid off. I'm going to add my basil that I washed and picked beforehand, as well as my baby kale. We're going to also do some lemon and water just to get this started. And some garlic too, which I'm going to trim off the little stems and then give them a good smash too, just because it helps it. I did not forget about you, tomatoes. I would never. Those are still taking a little while to come to temp. 1, 2.
Any tricks for doing that?
Oh, tricks for doing this. I mean, I think what's really important with using a knife in general is to have a really good handle of the handle, right? So that's where a lot of your stability comes from. And I find a lot of comfort and stability in keeping my pointer finger right here. So like kind of like think of like pinching it and then think of your knife being an extension of your hand. So the sweeping motions, you let the sharpness of the blade do the work, not the force. So it's more of an extension of your hand. And what's great about the flat part is I like to hit it with the palm of my other hand. And then I don't worry about it moving around or being dangerous because I have my pointer finger securing it wherever I want it. So that gives me some stability and comfort with whenever I handle a knife. And that's just something that kind of just comes with practice and the more you do it. So we're also going to be doing some fresh lemon juice. We're going to do about 2 tablespoons. These are ripe.
Oh.
Yeah, juicy. Might get another one in there. Oops. And lemons are great too for this. Just a little bit of acid really brightens it up. It's nice.
What was that technique?
Oh, so I like to, I feel like whenever I roll out, and you can like feel it too, all the fibers of the citrus on the inside are just kind of like loosen up, releasing all that juice. And I find that whenever I roll out or kind of massage the citrus, whenever I juice it, it's way easier. Just me personally. And we're gonna do 2 tablespoons. 2 tablespoons. Cup right here. And we're gonna go through a lemon for another recipe too. So for the ranch, so if you squeeze too much, that's a-okay. And there's having too much lemon juice is a good problem. So you can make, I mean, really anything. Lemonade, obviously, but let's see. 1, 2, perfect. Let's go over here. Let's check on our tomatoes.
Some of my favorite smells, lemon and garlic.
Yeah, right.
All coming together.
All right, and when you're cooking your marinade or your sun-dried tomatoes, you'll see them plump up and just kind of increase in volume as you watch the water absorb into them, which is exactly what you want. I'm going to strain them and then I'll show you all what it looks like. And I love to have your little strainer ready, because there's nothing worse than when your pasta's ready or whatever it is that you're cooking, and then you have to quickly, and then you don't have a strainer there. And then a lot of error could happen there. Cool. So my sun-dried tomatoes are nice and plump. I don't know if you don't mind tilting that. Nice and plump and beautiful. Probably about doubled in size. Great. And I've got a little sheet tray, let them sit here. And next, for these tomatoes. So I have a small saute pan. Into that, we're going to add our sun-dried tomatoes. As well as this marinade. Like to make sure that they're flattened out in the pan. We want that surface area so we can distribute this marinade well. And all we're gonna do is bring this to a light simmer. And if you don't feel comfortable doing multiple recipes at the same time, go with Trump paste, that's totally fine. Don't feel like you gotta rush it. Nothing worse than doing a mess up you wouldn't normally do because you're multitasking and spreading yourself too thin. So, ooh, that already smells really good. I love that balsamic.
Smells so good.
Yeah, right, and garlic. Cool. And all we're gonna do in this step is we're basically just bringing it to a simmer, and we're gonna cook it on low until the tomatoes have soaked up all that liquid. So we want just to soak all that up. So it's just mainly on the visual because it really depends on the size pan you have and the surface area of that pan. I'm gonna go on low. That guy go. Keep an eye on it, and like I said, if you don't feel comfortable multitasking, you don't have to. You can do everything step by step. We do have all the instructions as well as the measured out amounts for each ingredient in the chat. I believe we've shared that, so feel free to follow along for that. So another thing we're going to add, we're going back to this pesto. So we've got the lemon. Oh, now we just need a little bit of water, and this is mainly just to get the puree going at first. So I'm gonna do a tablespoon of water. Perfect. I'm gonna do some salt and pep. That's looking good. We're gonna do some salt. You don't need a freakishly small spoon, but it makes me really happy. Big fan of it. And then some fresh ground pepper. Think of it like a pinch, but really more up to your preference. Big fan of cracked black pepper. Tomatoes are low. And then, so to that, we're gonna blend this first, and then we're gonna slowly pour in our olive oil. So we're gonna do a 1/3 cup here. Sweet. Okay. So we're gonna start first. We're gonna blend this mixture until it's just a nice bright green puree, and then through the top, I'm gonna slowly pour in that oil until it becomes a really nice pesto. And that water and lemon juice are really help at the beginning, just a little bit, just to get it started. And you're gonna have to stop partially to scrape down the sides. And spatula. I really like these narrow spatulas just because they get into all the nooks and crannies of really no matter what piece of equipment you're using. So yeah, pause to scrape down the product to the side. Since this is a fairly small batch of pesto, we're using like a 6-quart food processor. You might have to do this a lot.
Someone asked if we can link to the dry ingredients from Oaktown Spice. It's not in the recipe, but we could probably just link.
Yeah, we
to
can,
it.
and they ship too. So even if you're
Okay.
not local, they will ship to you. Big fan, totally. I like 2 years ago, I went and I transitioned all of my spices to Oaktown and my life's just been great ever since. And I don't work for them. I just really love using their ingredients and they're a really great small company. So anytime we get to give those companies a shout out, we do. All right. So I'm gonna give one more scrape down and then I'm gonna start adding in my oil. So do another little scrape down. Continue adding in your oil. Beautiful. No large chunks of garlic, just a beautiful green sauce. And I'm gonna taste right now and adjust for any salt. Maybe it needs a little bit more salt, maybe it needs some more acid. It's all kind of depending on the type of citrus you use, type of oil you use, what time of year you're making this based off of like what was harvested as far as the basil and greens go. So it's really important you just give it a taste. Ooh, a little salt. A little bit of salt for
Another
me.
tiny little wooden spoon.
I know, me and my wooden spoons. Big fan, big fan. Piece of garlic. Okay, so this kale pesto can go directly into our cooked pasta. So let's scrape this off. And I can show you one of my favorite tricks. So I just like to, I'll just hold down the blade with my spatula. I'll get out most of the basil pesto, or you can really do this with anything you make in a food processor. So instead of, fussing around with the blade in the middle and like risking cutting yourself or missing some of the sauce, if you put this back in here and use the power of centrifugal force, it will come clean off the blade. Just one pulse. Bam, clean blade. You gotta worry about it.
Someone else said they love the idea of putting salt in the mason jar, and thanks for the idea.
Yeah, totally. I mean, why not, right?
And a wooden spoon.
And the mini wooden spoon, very important. The little things in life make you happy. I swear by it. And it's cool too, because I like to get a lot of my ingredients in bulk, and then that way I'm just reusing the same container. So at least I feel a little bit good about that from a sustainability standpoint. And then with the pesto too, and really you can use this for any method of adding a sauce to something. You can always add, you can't take away. So maybe you want to start little and then just kind of add more to your taste. I'm a big pesto fan, so I'm going to add all of it. But just a good rule of thumb. Wow. And feel free to use any shape too. Doesn't matter. Get creative with it. Whatever you see in the store. So now that that is coated well, beautiful. The sun-dried tomatoes are still working. Excellent. So we've got our nice kale pesto pasta. Sorry. Beautiful.
So good.
Oh God, yeah, it smells so good too.
Excellent. So next, I want to give my little tomatoes a nudge. See how they're doing. They've still got plenty of marinade, so I'm gonna let them just keep mingling with the flavors. Smells so good. And with the sun-dried tomatoes too, we say to put a pinch of chili flakes, but if you enjoy spice, go a little bit more. It's really nice, and it's used pretty sparingly amongst the salad. So once combined with all the flavors, it won't be like too spicy, but I really enjoy that heat that comes from it. Great, so now we can start with our creamy ranch dressing. So here we have some prepared mayonnaise. We recommend vegan mayonnaise. We make ours in-house. Although there are some on the market that don't have as many processed ingredients we can recommend. Like Primal is one that's got a pretty clean ingredient list, but we actually weren't satisfied with what we found out in the market, which is what made us have to create our own because we don't use any no processed ingredients, refined sugars, nothing that comes or nothing plant-based or for our core meals, right? Because we offer egg and meat add-ons, but all plant-based ingredients, no stabilizers, no binders, no gums. So that's what's really special about our mayo. But right here, we're using Primal, and feel free to use what you see or what's available to you in the market. That's fine. And I already have my dry spices measured out. So I got nutritional yeast, garlic, onion powder. I've got some dried chives. Traditionally, mayo usually uses all dried herbs, but I find that the fresh chopped parsley works really well here for our application. And this is something that you can wash and chop beforehand and just have that ready for you. I usually get a whole bunch, I wash it, and then I just chop the whole thing, and then I just keep it in a little container. And then it's really easy because as you cook throughout the week, you can just grab it, sprinkle it, do whatever you want. Great, and so to this, we're gonna need some more lemon juice, a 1/3 cup. So I'm just gonna go ahead and squeeze the remaining guys that I already cut open. Let's see if I can get to a 1/3 cup only using what lemons I cut. It's always a fun game. These are really great lemons. Wow. Super juicy. And for this mayo recipe, I am gonna have to cut another lemon. I'm gonna use an immersion blender just because they're really accessible and pretty easy and great for emulsifying things like mayo-based dressings or vinaigrettes, anything where you're trying to make oil homogeneous with the rest of the recipe. Although you could use a blender, that's fine. That would work just okay. But immersion blenders are really accessible and affordable. So I'm gonna be using that today. Oh, I'm getting to a 1/3 cup. The exact amount of lemons I got. Perfect. Very satisfying. Cool. So I'm gonna add that in there too. And then we're also gonna do some apple cider vinegar, give it a shake because some sediments can settle at the bottom. 2 tablespoons. And then I'm gonna do some fresh cracked pepper. We say a pinch, but it's also more up to your preference. You can always add, but you can't take away. We're also gonna be adding in 3 cloves of garlic. Use our new little trim up the little nub. We don't want to eat those. Then we're gonna give it a good smash just because it helps it blend a lot better instead of having to chop up the whole clove. A lot less work for it. So I keep my pointer finger here. I got a good handle on the handle, flat, easy, smashed. Great. Immersion blender. Those are going just fine. So I'm gonna go on low. Kind of hover. There's not a whole lot of blending besides the garlic. So I'll just hold it kind of more. And I don't personally like to over blend it. only because the fresh parsley has a lot of antioxidants and carotenoids and chlorophyll. It gives it that bright color. It makes it really good for you as well. But if you blend it too much, you'll have a really green ranch. Not that that's a bad thing, but you know, the traditional ranch we're all looking to is a nice white with little speckles. So that's our ranch. So we're just gonna set that aside. Check on my marinated tomatoes. We're almost there. We're almost soaked up.
You can hear them.
You can hear it. They're like almost there, but you can still see there's some going to the bottom of the pan. So we're gonna give her a little bit more time. Good things take time, and marinated tomatoes are one of them. All right. Perfect. And so now that we've got our pesto pasta ready, our marinated tomatoes are working, they're almost done. Give it about another minute and I'll put them on the sheet tray just to cool evenly and quickly. And then we can start assembling the salad and then we're pretty much done. And really, so these three first components, so the kale pesto pasta, the ranch dressing, and the marinated tomatoes are all things you can make ahead of time. And then assembling is something I'll probably do day of. Just because like the greens are pretty tender and fragile. And then once you introduce all these other ingredients, they're gonna be a lot more perishable and will not look as happy and voluminous for when you want to present it. Those are beautiful.
Ooh,
Little guys.
1 second. Oh, yeah.
Love it. And it's just such a great summer dish, you know. But if you wanted to cheat too, because sun-dried tomatoes are available year-round. So in theory, you could make this at any time of year, but they're especially tasty in the summer. All right. Your vinegar and the oil crack me. Excellent. So turn my stove off. I'm gonna do a little flat layer on a sheet tray or cookie tray or even a plate works. Just that way it can cool down evenly and quickly. It's a good little technique and safely. So for assembling our salad, right here I've got a couple different types of mixed greens. This is really more available to your preference, what you got, what's available to you. We've got some baby chard, we've got some spinach, some arugula, as well as some tatsoi. It's really tasty and really pretty too. But really whatever combination of leaves, lettuces you got will work just fine. Baby kale too will work great here. Keep the kale theme going. And I'm also going to add another cruciferous vegetable, Napa cabbage. And this is just, you know, it doesn't have to be fancy. Whatever you got works. You got purple cabbage, green cabbage, whatever works. It's all tasty and delicious. One thing I would recommend is washing your cabbage ahead of time and washing your greens ahead of time, because that residual water is going to make it really difficult for the dressing to stick. And depending on the size of cabbage you get, I lucked out on this tiny little baby Napa cabbage from the market. But usually they're pretty huge, so you might have to quarter it before slicing it, but I lucked out on this little baby cabbage. Excellent. That'll do for me. So I'm gonna add in my cabbage. Go ahead. And as long as you got washed hands, I think they're your best tool. Truly. It works so well for what you need. Tongs would work fine too, but I don't think tongs know how gentle you have to be with loose leaves, because these are very tender. Oops. And then now is a good time. I would like to add the ranch now, but you could leave this on the side for whoever you're sharing this with to add it to themselves, or if you're meal prepping, we serve this on the side too, just so it can have a longer life, and not be as perishable. But it's really up to you. But if you're going to mix it in, now is the time. So I'm gonna add this ranch, and the same concept of you can add more, you can't take any away. So I'm gonna start a little bit, give it a mix, and then I'm gonna use this spatula actually. And I like to kind of go around. So I'm gonna start with a little bit. And then I like to mix going around the sides. That way it all stays in. Who am I kidding? I'm adding more.
Always more ranch.
Yeah, what was I thinking? It's the nutritionist in me. Beautiful.
That's looking good.
Yeah, and it's great just to use a bigger bowl, because you can always, again, you can always add more, you can't take away usually, so I like to use the biggest bowl I got, and this one usually does the trick. So that way I don't mess up whatever bowl I'm plating in and get like dressing on the sides like I do here. So now I can just plop it in the bowl that I want to plate in, which is this beautiful bowl right here. And actually, now is the time where I would use some tongs, because presentation is important to me. So I like to start in the middle. Give it like a little seat. A little seat. Yeah. And add some volume. The baby chard and tot soy are just so pretty. But like I said, any variety of lettuce will work just fine. Every last bit. All right, now we can go with their toppings.
Oh, yeah.
You gotta make sure they still work, because you never know. They still work. Thank God. And I have some sliced Kalamata olives. This is a full jar pre-sliced. I just strained them, and olives are something that are kind of polarizing. I love a lot of them, but not everyone does. So this is more up to your taste as well. So I'm gonna go ahead and sprinkle this in. Also provide some.
That's the only way to food style.
Right? Yeah, Jesse, you know.
It's the Thistle food styling sound. Boop, boop, boop.
And it's fun too, when you work hard on your presentation of the food and it looks really pretty and you're proud of it and you want to share it.
Yeah, let's
Thanks for
really get in there.
So that's the olives with that. And then Kale pesto. And I always like to leave a little bit of each ingredient to go back in for little speckles of different colors. Make sure nothing's getting covered up too much. This is a perfect size bowl, actually. I was worried it was going to be too small. Little tongs, get it in there. Beautiful. And then the sun-dried tomatoes are really going to make it pop. These are marinated, tasty, tender, nice herbs, some chili flake. Shout out Oaktown, big fan.
Not sponsored.
Yeah, sponsor me, please. Please.
Someone said it looks delicious.
Oh, yay. Thanks.
It is.
It is, and it's fun, and it's easy to make, and it's good for you, right? But it's still like decadent and delicious and exciting, and And yeah, it's seasonal and it's like not gonna be like, oh, great, another vegan salad. So-and-so is bringing Naya's bringing her vegan salad again. Like, this will be fun and exciting. And then you can even go back over, do a little ranch drizzle if you wanted to. But I'm pretty satisfied with that. I think that looks beautiful. If anything, I almost want to garnish with a little bit more lettuce. Get a little crazy. Because like I said, that top soy was insane. Let's go. So sorry.
This is very important.
This is very important. Oh, top soy. They're
If you're bringing it
pretty.
to a gathering,
Yeah.
it's all about presentation.
Arugula, some more tatsoi. Little frisee. Tatsoi.
And definitely talk to the food.
Oh, very important. I strongly recommend it. There you go. Ta-da. See, that's not too bad, huh? Great for serving a crowd, or if you're trying to meal prep and get ahead for the week. This is anywhere from 4 to 6, but even just looking at it, I mean, a lot of it, the volume is coming from cabbage and loose leaves, but so it's not as caloric. However, this would definitely feed a big group of people. But yeah, this is it. I really hope you all followed along, or if not, please use that recipe as guidance. Hope this was helpful for making it, and I'm really excited all of y'all joined.